Coming up on Theater Talk.
Look at me, can't you see I'm fabulous, baby? Look right here, ain't it clear where I'm headed to?
Theater Talk is made possible in part by the CUNY TV Foundation.
Look at my style, could it be more glam? Look at my look, can you say hot damn? Look in it once, you know what I am. Me, I'm fabulous, baby. Look at my moves, don't they blow your mind? Drama and talent and sex combined. Hell, you could tell even if you're blind. See, I'm fabulous, baby. I'm meant to be where the spotlight shines. Born to be on display. Built to be dressed to the 99s and ready to stand and say, hey, look at me, can't you see I'm fabulous, baby? Look right here, ain't it clear where I'm headed to? And look at the time, honey, I can't stay. Look while you can, 'cause I'm on my way. Me, I'm fabulous, baby. I got fabulous things to do.
I love that song. I love that song. That is Fabulous Baby from Sister Act, which is an absolutely terrific show that Susan and I both love on Broadway.
Right, absolutely.
This is Theater Talk. I'm Michael Riedel of the New York Post.
And I'm the show's producer, Susan Haskell.
And we have a special treat tonight for you because we have the composer of Sister Act, Mr. Alan Menken, one of the great musical theater and movie composers, is here with us on Theater Talk. Congratulations on Sister Act and that wonderful score. Alan has 8 Oscars, I believe, right? Is that's correct? It's the 9th. That's the hardest one to get, right?
It's really hard.
Yeah. He is the composer of A Little Shop of Horrors, Aladdin, Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast, Leap of Faith, which is coming up, and Sister Act, which just opened on Broadway, and as I said, is a terrific show. Alan, welcome to Theater Talk.
Thank you.
What I love so much about Sister Act is that you have captured what's called that Philadelphia sound for the show. Why did you decide to go in that idiom, and what for you is that Philadelphia sound?
Well, the movie was in an R&B sound, basically a place. I had already been to that place, the Little Shop.
That's right, yeah.
And I wanted to give the musical its own personality. I've always had on my wish list doing a musical with a disco score and pulling on that really entertaining sound. There's something about that period that was both wonderful and silly.
You were in the middle of that period.
I was in that. I didn't go to discos. I was more of a hippie back. But when disco came, I remember when the Bee Gees went from from their soft sound to main chorus and
that whole
Saturday Night
glam
Fever.
world that then comes into play.
Wonderful. It brings with it so much style and so much attitude. And when I mentioned to Glenn that I thought this would be a great, Glenn Slater,
Who did the great lyrics for this show. Yeah.
That this would be a great world to draw on, he said, let's go, let's do it.
Can you give us an example, since we've got you at the piano, just of the sound of the Philadelphia sound? What does it sound like to you? I mean, what were you working with writing these songs? You know, the harmony of it, or a little snatch of something that's in your mind that captures the spirit of it?
Well, if you think of Donna Summer,
Yeah.
She works hard for her money, or It's Raining Men, or
that kind of driving.
Let's get it on, baby. It was a combination of smooth soul and psychedelic funk and disco, and it's hard to encapsulate it because what I like to do always is kind of lose myself in a style,
Right.
and then just kind of bring that over into telling a story and say, well, why would this particular style work for the storytelling?
And also, we have a lot of pastiche scores on Broadway, but I found with Sister Act that these songs could have been written of the era. They feel authentic,
Well,
not
that's-
pastiche.
that's
and that's what you're trying to do.
Yeah, absolutely what we're trying to do. And I think, to the credit of a lot of, in terms of what Mark and Scott did for Catch Me If You Can, those are authentic too. There's just different styles of music. Ideally, what you want is that everyone goes, oh, I get it.
Right.
I get where you're coming from. with Little Shop when we did the doo-wop sound.
Right.
The idea of telling a story about the end of the world to to bubblegum girl group music. That the whole point was that comment and that contrast. In the case of Sister Act, having Dolores coming from the world of disco into the convent is such a huge divide.
Right, right.
And it just helps the story so much to have that.
Now, there's a song that I really love from Sister Act, which I think, to me, just I heard that song. I thought this could be the Philadelphia sound, right, Susan?
Yep.
It's called When I Find My Baby. I'd love for you to give us a taste of that.
Sure.
But we got to set it up though, because the lyrics may startle some people a little bit.
Okay.
So if you just give us a sense of who this character is.
Well, this Curtis runs the club where Dolores works, and she's witnessed the murder.
Yeah.
And he finds out that she is in fact the informant, and he wants to get this girl. Now it could be just one of these heavy villain numbers, which would be as boring as all get out. So how do we make this an entertaining moment? Well, we thought he should do this basically in a total hearts and flowers kind of way, but basically I'm going to do horrible things to this girl, but it's all in the guise of love.
Mm-hmm.
Which makes it even more disturbing.
It's sort of like, it's sort of like, let's get it on and let me wring your neck.
I know the way that she thinks, I know her habits and kinks, I know the stuff she's all about. I know the people she knows and all the places she goes. I know her up, down, inside out. I know the needs that she's got. I know what gets the girl hot. I know I got the inside track. And yeah, I know she's upset. Well, let her play hard to get. 'Cause if I know one thing, I'm getting her back. Because I know that girl. I feel that girl. I understand that girl. And if I want that girl, I'm gonna get that girl. I'm gonna let that girl get away. No way. And when I find that girl, I'm gonna kill that girl. I'm gonna wham, bam, blam, and drill that girl. Won't say rest until that girl is safe and sound 6 feet below. No, when I find my baby, I ain't letting her go.
This takes us back to Little Shop, where you had a big
Absolutely.
homicidal vein in there
Absolutely.
as well.
Yeah. Glenn is, of all the lyricists I work with now, Glenn is the one who's the closest to Howard.
Right.
In
Howard Ashman, who was
Howard,
the great
the
lyricist
great
you
Howard
worked
Ashman.
with so many times.
Who
Yeah.
love to embrace a pop style or a known style. Then
Twisted.
Yeah.
Now, we want to sort of go through your career tonight, and we have this fabulous picture of you from...
with the aviator glasses.
This is what, circa 19...
It's got to be early 70s.
early 70s at Snafu. You grew up in New York City.
I was born in New York
Born in
City,
New York.
and then grew up in New Rochelle. Born in Manhattan, and then my parents moved to New Rochelle when I was, I don't know how old.
And were you a kid coming to Broadway all the time? Were you running down to see all the shows? No, you weren't a Broadway kid.
Well, not really. My parents were. We had all the cast albums, and we listened to the shows. But I thought, no, I'm gonna be a rock star. I'm gonna write pop music. And well, first I wanted to be Beethoven. Then I wanted to be the Beatles. Then I wanted to be Bob Dylan. And
Were
then
you classically trained on the piano?
Somewhat. I was one of these very ADD kids who I could never focus on practicing. So I'd learn the beginning of a Beethoven sonata.
Can you still play?
And for the next hour, I'd be going, and I'd just be making up whatever it was. My parents would be sitting in the next room having no idea that I wasn't playing Beethoven. And I went to the teacher, and the teacher said he's not learning the pieces. Well, he's practicing. I said, Alan. I said, well, I just kind of make up my own stuff.
You were writing then as a kid,
Just kind of
intuitively?
But it's what could focus my brain. I was not a particularly great student because sitting and reading was just like hard for me, and focusing on studies were hard for me. But music just was the thing that really focused me.
What was an early song? Can you play us an early song that you did as a kid? Do you remember anything that gives us the...
You mean when I was really a kid?
Yeah, a little hint of the Alan Menken sound that was there from the beginning.
All right, when I was about, I think I maybe was about 12 years old, I wrote this song. On the guitar. She's gone, and I wanna die. You know, I'm living a lie. She'd have stayed if only I had asked. But I know I can't bring back the past. Because I only had like a few years of past.
Did you have a particular girl in mind when you were singing this, writing this when you were 12?
The fantasy girl of my dreams.
That's great.
No, but I used to film. I went to NYU as a pre-med, poor NYU, and I would just go to the piano practice room and just fill notebooks full of songs, and then when I graduated at NYU. I was clearly not going to go to graduate school. Mm-hmm. I just was not into school. I had actually joined the BMI workshop already.
Where so many of you came out of Layman Ingalls' famous workshop where he taught you and Maury Yeston and Susan Birkenhead and Ed Kleben how to write musicals.
Yes, and it was a great thing. So to appease my parents, I joined this musical theater workshop and began just learning how to write musicals, and that just opened my entire life.
Now, there's an early song of yours that your friend Maury Yeston told me that I had to ask you to sing
of
for
course.
us.
Thank you, Maury.
Maury said, if you're going to have Alan on the show, you have to have him sing this early song called Pink Fish.
All right, so the story about this song is funny. Okay, well, before Howard, I used to write my own lyrics.
Right.
And I was a pretty good lyricist, I think, I must say. I think Layman Engel, the great Layman Engel, thought I was a pretty good lyricist. But starting with Howard, the idea of having the book writer and lyricist as one and the same was such a wonderful luxury, and Howard was the best. But I was doing nightclub acts, and there was a young performer named David Summers, who has since passed away. And David was the young, new ingenue boy in town from Texas, straight out of Texas, and he needed a comedy song. Now, God bless David, he just wasn't particularly funny. So I said, well, let's write something that would,
This Texas boy in New York.
deal with this Texas boy in New York. So I talked to him and I said, tell me about when you first came to New York. He said, well, I remember coming into the bank and I see this sign that said Chinooka Club. And I said, what's the Chinooka Club? How do I join it? No. I said, I think we have some pay dirt here. So I wrote this song.
When I first saw New York City, I felt a weakness in my knees. So I went to a kosher deli and asked for a ham and cheese. No cheese, no ham, I guess I don't know where I am. American as apple pie, peanut butter and jam. Well, I was getting desperate. The hunger moved to my soul. So I went next door to Ratner's and asked for a buttered roll. The waitress suggested a bagel or a bialy with a schmear. She said, enjoy, don't finagle. Try it, you'll like it, dear. She brought me pink fish on a big stale donut with a glob of cream cheese sitting on the side. What is this pink fish? Am I supposed to eat this? You didn't even heat this. I think it's still alive. Well, I went on my first audition for Fiddler on the Roof. When I saw the other actors there, I thought I'd made a goof. No beanie, no beard, I guess I looked kinda weird. But when I heard it was a religious show, well, I was mighty cheered. So I strode into the tryout and sang Amazing Grace. When I heard the director cry out and fall flat on his face, he went splat, not crunch. You know, I kinda had a hunch. So I took a look, and I was right. His face was in his lunch, which consisted of pink fish on a big stale donut with a glob of cream cheese sitting on the side. They were all eating pink fish, and it made me go nuts. I may have no guts, but I got my pride. When my pastor came to visit, I made grits and chicken fried steak. Something was wrong. I said, Father, what is it? He said, son, I need a break. Take me to a Jewish deli for a corned beef and a knish. I may have a Texas belly, but I want a New York City dish. Well, they tell me that I fainted. I guess I could have passed for dead. I cried, oh Lord, please send a sign, and he sent his son instead. And I dreamt I was following Jesus, and the people were coming in droves. He said, try what my daddy hath made to please us. And he took out the fishes and the loaves. He was passing out pink fish on big stale donuts with globs of cream cheese sitting on the side. So I ate pink fish and it made me go nuts. No ifs, ands, oh buts, I swallowed my pride. Amazing grace, how sweet the taste that made a mensch of me. I once was lost, but I found my pride, 'cause I fixed my pink fish southern fried. Good yum-toff, y'all.
That's the song that launched the career of Alan Menken, right?
Oh.
Lyrics, too. Those are your lyrics,
Those
right?
are my lyrics, yeah.
Now, why did you stop writing lyrics? And tell us when Howard Ashman came into your life.
Well, I stopped writing lyrics when Howard Ashman came into my life.
Just because Howard
I didn't
was so...
really stop. I've written some things. I wrote the theme, the title song, the big song, end credit song for Rocky V.
Was Rocky V any good, by the way? I don't remember.
It was the worst one. I hate to say it, but so I wrote this song actually with I was thinking of Bob Seger, who I love, and then Sly said, "How about Elton John?" I said, "Oh my God, Elton, incredible." So he called Elton John in the middle of the night, woke him up, I think just to get him off the phone. Elton said yes. And I flew over to London, and next thing I know, we're recording this song. And Elton, and as we were recording, he said, "Oh, you did that Little Mermaid thing. You know, those Disney animated things are interesting." I said, "Yeah, well, you ought to try one." Next thing you know, that's the
So this is another
Lion King.
Alan Menken song with lyrics by Alan Menken.
It
that
is,
you did. What's it called?
It's called The Measure of a Man.
These battered hands are all you own. This broken heart that's turned to stone. Go hang your glory on the wall. There comes a time when castles fall, and all that's left is shifting in the sand. You're out of time, you're out of place. Look at your face, that's the measure of a man. Drums kick in.
Coat that fits you like a glove.
That's a good one.
Very macho.
Yeah.
It's interesting, though, because you go from, and what I've always admired about you, go from something like Pinkfish, a comedy song, to writing, that's a kind of what, mid-'80s sort of ballad. I mean,
Yeah, it's a power. I mean, I'm kind of a chameleon. Basically, I'm a chameleon, which is probably why it's good that I become a recording artist. I love losing myself in a musical style, and just coming through that style, through the characters, through the story, and
yet you have a distinctive sound. You really do. I mean, when I was sitting in Sister Act, I went, that's so Alan Menken.
Yeah, we'll get to that Alan Menken sound. We get the Disney things, but I do want to talk to you about Howard Ashman and when Howard came into your life. When did you first meet Howard?
I know Howard had done a little show. He just wrote the book for it, I think, called Dream Stuff, down at the Astor Place Theater, and I'd heard about it at the time. And he was, I think, coming aboard just to write the book and direct a musical of Kurt Vonnegut's novel, God Bless You, Mr. Rosewater. And somehow, actually through Maury and through Lehman, Howard was looking to meet with various composers. And so I was one of the composers he wanted to meet with. And I think Maury called me and said, I know you write lyrics like I do, but this guy Howard Ashman. And he's artistic director of the WPA Theater, right. And he is, he's doing Kurt Vonnegut's God Bless Mr. Rosewater, and I was a big Vonnegut fan. So we met, and I played him some things, and in short order we were collaborating. And
what was it about Howard that impressed you so much? I mean, I know guys like Peter Schneider and Tom Schumacher, who ran Disney, said that Howard was really a dramatist, that he could see the whole thing. That wasn't just a song, but he could see the whole movie unfold, the whole plot, the characterization. Yeah,
Howard understood how music informs story. Howard really had a great sense of genre, you know, of zeitgeist, and certainly the best example of that was Little Shop of Horrors,
which was the show that launched you both, really.
And we had initially, when we took on writing Little Shop, we were writing it actually in a way that was closer to the movie itself. You know, in that bad Corman movie.
Yeah. By the way, why did you hit on that idea? Why would you look at that bad old movie and think there's a musical there?
Howard. He'd wanted to do this ever since college.
That was his kind of twist of
and
mind.
I looked at it. I said, it's very obvious. It is very obvious. It's got such a huge sense of genre to it, even before we decided to do it, you know, using the dark side of Greece, as we call it.
Right. That was the theme. That was the idea behind it.
Kind of, but not initially. Initially, we had songs like, "When it's time to pick a pet flower, who's the shrub we love? Who's our potted plant of the hour? Who's our bush when push comes to shove? Who rakes in that cash? Those kudos. Look, ma, who came through? Not Audrey Hepburn or Audrey Wood. Both those ladies are well and good. They're dismal failures beside the wonderful Audrey too." And the pods would go, "Audrey, Audrey, Audrey too."
Well, that didn't make the final cut.
Well, no, but we had the whole score. Feed me, I'm hungry. Feed me, I'm starving. Feed me, I'm fading in fast. Feed me, you nutnik. It was just very much in the style of the Corman movie. And then, you know, we played it for people, and they looked at us like we had 10 heads. And Howard then said, "You know what? I have another idea."
So go get it.
Little shop of horrors, little shop of terror, call a cop. Little shop of horrors, and no, oh, oh, no, oh, oh, no, oh, oh, no. We had other songs in that style that went further.
Feed me.
Oh, feed me, Seymour. Feed me all night long. That's right, boy. You can do it. Feed me, Seymour. Feed me all night long. If you feed me, Seymour, I can grow up big and strong.
Once you found that tone, then the show changed, and then you were able to get it up and get the money going for it.
Well, we opened it at WPA Theater. It was Howard's Theater.
Right.
We did it twice, and in both cases, we had a great result. One was Rosewater. It moved instantly to the Intermedia Theater on 2nd Avenue, and then Little Shop, which just was boom.
Exploded. Oh, we've got to wrap up the segment, but we will ask you, will you stick around for next week? Because we haven't even begun to get to the Disneyfication of Alan Menken.
Disneyfication.
But
okay,
can
sure.
we go out? We have
How about somewhere that's green?
Yes.
I know Seymour's the greatest, but I'm dating a semi-sadist. So I got a black eye and my arms in a cast. Still, that Seymour's a cutie. Well, if not, he's got inner beauty. And I dream of a place where we could be together at last. A matchbox of our own, a fence of real chain link, a grill out on the patio, dispose all in the sink, a washer and a dryer and an ironing machine, in a tract house that we share, somewhere that's green.
Gorgeous. Alan Menken, thank you so much. Stick around for next week, and we'll cover those little things you did for Disney. Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast, those sorts of things.
And more Sister Act.
And more Sister Act. Thank you, Alan Menken. And Susan, good night from Theater Talk.
Good night to you.
We'll see you next week with Alan Menken.
I've been thinking about ya since receiving your call. pray every night and each day. Hoping that you'll drop a line. Praying I pray till you sweep me away. Straight to clown number 9. Oh, you are simply too divine. Take me to heaven. Take me to ecstasy. I'll give you all I've got. 'Cause nothing's as hot as when you groove with me. No, 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 no. And when you stretch your step and do your thing, I just can't help surrendering. You're so strong, you're so sweet, you're what makes me complete. I just worship at your feet. Take me to heaven, take me to kingdom come. I'll take any vow, just take me now.
Our thanks to the Friends of Theater Talk for their significant contribution to this production. Theater Talk is made possible in part by the Frederick Lowe Foundation, the Eleanor Naylor Dana Charitable Trust, the Alan S. Gordon Foundation, the Corey and Bob Donnelly Charitable Fund, Carrie J. Fries, the Dorothy Strelson Foundation, the New York City Department of Cultural Affairs, and the New York State Council on the Arts, a state agency.
We welcome your questions or comments for Theater Talk. Thank you and good night.